Hello, hello, and welcome to the show. I'm Nadia Jordana, and Melissa Nambangi will be my co-host today as we do something just a little bit different from our norm. Our program will be all about pets and their importance in our lives. Let's go meet the panel and learn a little bit more.
Okay, hi everybody, and welcome to the show today. Today we have a really fun topic, and we look forward to you joining us and staying on throughout the show as we talk about pets and their place in our lives. I'm gonna have one of our guests introduce themselves before turning it back to the other hosts we have with us. And so, Dorina, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Dorina Martirano. Actually, I'm a chef and I teach people how to cook and take them on trips to Italy. But it always goes around what we can do with the pets while I'm away. But my husband usually watches them when I'm gone, so it's okay. But I'm going to introduce you to Louie. This is Louie. He's a Jack Russell Rat Terrier mix, and he is yeah, he's 8 years old and very active still. You'd think he was a puppy. Say hi, Louie. Say hello.
Is he a little bit bigger than the average Jack Russell, or is it just my?
No, my kid. It's just I think it's the camera, but also my kids tell us that we feed him too much. So he's a little chunky.
Considering you're a chef, that's understandable.
Yeah, well, you know what he is. He's the best vacuum cleaner or mop for my kitchen because when I'm cooking, you know, inevitably he loves to lick the floor. I think that just the little splatters of, grease or whatever that go, he's licking all around so it's, he's a great vacuum cleaner. My crumbs in the kitchen.
Tell us about your earlier pets. You had 2 pets that you lost that you loved an awful lot. And I'd like to hear about that because people don't realize what an important part they play in our lives and our homes.
They really do. Over the years, we've had many pets. We've had, one dog after another, but the last 2 actually left us last year within a month of each other. So that was really, really difficult. We had a border collie named Bella. She was all black. She had white paws. She was just beautiful. And she was, let's see, I think she was almost 13. And so she pretty much grew up with my kids, whether they were, my older boys were I have 6 kids. So my oldest kids were in high school when we got her, but then my daughter was, small. And so they really grew up with her. And that was a real loss. And we couldn't I was actually out of town. My husband was here with her and she was just to the point where she couldn't move. She was laying on the floor and he took her to the vet. So we had this is how crazy it was, but we have, family group chat and he had all 8 of us, me, my husband, my 6 kids were all on video on the phone with him at the vet saying goodbye to Bella. It was like, it was, I was very moving, but we were all crying. That's the moments I'm happy for technology, but my husband couldn't even stay in the room though, when we had to have her put down and because she was just in too much pain and he couldn't even stay in the room. He stayed with her to the last second and then he couldn't handle it. We were that emotional about it,
It's really hard to see a pet in pain. They don't understand.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. And then 1 month later, it was actually my son's dog, but he was such a he lived here in this house and he had a Great Dane. So we had the small, medium and large with the Great Dane, the Border Collie and the Jack Russell. And Wayne, the Great Dane, was a rescue. My son worked for the Humane Society and worked on a case in New Hampshire where they were like 85 Great Danes or something like that. And he ended up adopting one and brought him home. So unfortunately, Wayne had a lot of issues, but Leo took care of him and he really lived a lot longer and a lot better in the end than anybody expected. But when he passed too, he was such a gentle giant. My husband would be sitting working in his office and Wayne would just come and stick his head on his shoulder. He was that big, just stick his head on his shoulder. And what was really interesting was how much Louie was affected, by losing the 2 within a month. He was so used to, being around these other dogs. And it was funny. His behavior changed for a while. He almost became more aggressive. Like when somebody came to the door, usually the big dogs would go to the door and he would kind of hold back a little. And then all of a sudden he's going straight for the door and running around people's feet. It was almost like he had to take over the job of the protector of the house, but he's the little guy, So
They
it's
really
been
do.
fun.
They really do have strong personalities, don't they?
Oh yeah, very much. And very, very different, unique personalities.
I think that's pretty remarkable. Well, Kathy, you have a pet and you've had some experiences through your, after the loss of your husband and through a group that you're in on grief. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, first I'll tell you about my background is that I've always been a cat person. We grew up with cats, and so Honey's the first dog I've ever had, and so I learned from my neighbor that what was normal, and most of it was normal, and so we kind of grew up together. She's a rescue, and she's just about a little bit of everything. So I'll tell you, she's a mix of so many things. At first, they thought she was a Cairn Terrier, but it depends on how you clip her. When I had talked about my husband, and I said if something happened to him, that I was going to get a dog. I wasn't going to get another man. I was going to get a dog. And so we're watching a very boring movie on a Friday night. And I'm looking at my phone at the Humane Society, and I see this cute dog that's really cute. And I think, well, I'll sleep on it. Okay, Saturday morning, I wake up, I take a look at her, and I said, I'm just going to go and take a look at her. And 3 hours later, and $200 worth of supplies, and Honey, we came home, and completely unknowing how to take care of a dog, but I had everything, and she turned out she had kennel cough, which is why she was so mild, and but they take care of that within the first week. So she was well again and back up, and she taught me a lot. And besides that, I got out and made friends with all my neighbors with dogs. So I didn't know the neighbor's name, but I knew the dog's name.
Oh yeah. Those are famous last words you said. I'm just going to look.
I know, right? And you come back home with a dog.
They grab your heart and that's it. You're done.
Yeah, it's so hard to walk. It's so hard to walk away empty-handed if you look into those eyes.
Well, when my husband Charlie died, it was an emotional roller coaster for me. All the paperwork associated with the death increased the stress. Charlie was gone. It was just my dog, Honey, and me. Our friends and neighbors came by and offered condolences, and family stopped by, but Honey was the one who was always there for me. Looking at her eased my stress. She was my companion. Now, Charlie was confined to a wheelchair, so I walked Honey and I fed her. Still, Honey knew her dad was missing, just like your dogs who missed their pet, their family, their other dogs. She used to sleep between us. After he died, she didn't even come up onto the bed. Oh, and that made me very sad. The house was an eerie quiet. No ball games in the background, no music softening the atmosphere. Just Honey and I, silently mourning our loss. Together, we provide a sense of reassurance and comfort for each other. She provides unconditional love and waits for me at the door when I'm gone. She sits under the bench by the door, and she's always happy to see me when I come home, but she's got to have her pets right away when I enter the door. She calms my spirit, and she calms, and I calm her with my pets and showing up back home again. I even bark talk to her. And I think I do a pretty good job too. We're there for each other. I talk to her and she listens to me. Not always obeys, but she hears me and knows what I'm saying. She gives me a reason to get up in the morning. And she also makes me get out and walk in the fresh air and provide exercise to my unmotivated self. Today, Honey and I have a relationship that has bonded us closer than ever. She has returned to sleeping with me and needs her morning rub down. She does not replace Charlie, but we share a loss. Now, I belong to a grief group and I live in a condominium with many widows. Some of the widows find solace in keeping busy, while others find warmth and comfort from their pets, as I do. Act of petting Honey soothes us both and gives us some peace. We understand each other. Our home may be quieter now, but it's not empty. Now, after Charlie passed away, I wrote a book to release my emotions. It includes stories, poems, and prayers from 20 different authors. And it's called Thoughts and Prayers for Those Experiencing
That is
Loss.
so wonderful. It really encapsulates all what pets do for people, because I have never been a pet person, never lived with one, never had one till just a year ago when Jasmine got Willow here. I'll show you Jasmine.
Yes, Melissa, tell us the
Interestingly
family pet
enough,
story you have. Yeah.
yeah. Interestingly enough, Willow used to be called Honey, and she never responded. We called her that for about 3 weeks, and one fine day, Jasmine said, "Well, it's a bit confusing because there's a lot of honeys around the house, the kids and everybody else." So she changed to Willow. And the moment they gave her that name, immediately I said, "Willow," she just turned, and she has known and loved the name since then. She turned 1 just 2 days ago. But what is so interesting is that when you come back from work with all the stress and all the worry, the way she dances at the door, the way she would run around, she would run around the whole living room, come back and high five you and run around again. There's no way you can stay upset or sad or stressed with Willow doing her thing wrong, running all around. By the way, Willow is a mix of Shih Tzu and a Yorkie. So she's a Shorkie, as they call her. And they actually advertise her as a designer dog. So I call her everything plus, hey, designer dog, hey, diva dog, But yeah, that impact. And I know some of my friends, when they come around and they see I'm actually carrying, you're carrying that dog, just because we are not from a background where there's a lot of that. So yeah, Willow has transformed many of us, done a lot of things. Now I can understand somebody crying because the pet died. Because one day we came back and somebody had thrown a rock at Willow and she was limping. Oh my God, the way we stood there, we were so miserable. Who could do that? Who could do that? And I told my sister later on, I said, we could have really been crying. It makes such a difference. It really does.
Oh, that's fun to hear your
Really
story.
does.
And I don't have any pets now, but I grew up with pets. We had dogs and cats on the farm, and I always gravitated toward the cats and the kittens, finding a batch of kittens in the haymow, imprinting on one, raising her or he up. And, I had Pepper Jr., I had Boots. Those are my 3 main cats. Cats live an awful long time. But dogs, all we ever had was black labs. And they were kind of my father and my brother's dogs. My father's gone now, so I've never asked him why he did this. But every single black lab dog he ever had. When one would pass away or run away and he would get another one, it would be another black lab. But they were all named Mike.
Oh, that's so cute.
So it was as if there was one dog who changed his personality from time to time, but they were all Mike.
Mike.
And I
That's
have no
interesting.
idea why that is.
I mean, if there was ever a boy and a dog, my Leo is one of my middle boys, and he's, he's 6'2", he's a Marine. So, him and his big dog, I've got such beautiful pictures of the two of them, because it's just talk about the story of a boy and his dog. And he's got when Wayne died, he got some of his ashes. He's got his ashes in a necklace. He's got them in all these different things in different places, so that he's got Wayne with him everywhere he goes. It's now he's dying to get another dog, but he can't decide what to get, so he's waiting a little bit. But he really, Wayne put we didn't have Wayne as long in the family, but he was, again, I think because we know how badly he was treated the first few years of his life, our heart went out to him, because he was a rescue, and he was in a cage that was too small for the big dog he was. Our vet, he was the biggest animal. He was the biggest dog in our vet's practice. He's like, this is one of the biggest so he was a big Great Dane, but he was, like I said, like a gentle giant. Everybody just loved him. And there was something special. He really tugged at our heartstrings, and, Leo just was devastated when he died. It was hard, but we gave him a much better life than he had previously. Rescues, I really do believe that people need to, if you're looking for a dog, hit up a rescue and rescue one of those dogs that needs some love, because it's all easy, fine, and dandy to run to the pet store that came from some puppy mill. Yeah, all the dogs, all the animals need love, no matter what. But if you can rescue one that already wasn't in a great place, you can give them a better life. I really do think they appreciate it.
Oh, thanks, Dorina. That's a great transition, because we're going to take a break right now. And when we come back, we'll have Cher Lindberg, and she has a rescue kitty, and we'll be hearing her story. Thanks a lot for coming on the show today and taking time out of your vacation from retirement.
Well, thank you, Nadia. I love being here. It was a surprise for us to be in Surprise, Arizona, all of a sudden, but we do have our cat named Kaido. Kaido is a farm cat that we got from a dairy farm in Wisconsin. It was one of our favorite dairy farms to visit, and this cat was part of 2 sets of 9 kittens running around the farm, typical farm cat. But this one was the runt of the litter. And so the farm lady, who loves cats, would pick him up and put him in her pocket, going from the house to the barn where the rest of the cats lived, running around with the dairy cows and the chickens and everything. And so she called this one Poppy, because it was 2 or 3 months old, and her husband, her farmer husband, said it was a girl. Well, when we went there to get eggs, right before New Year's Eve, we stopped in and they had all these little baby kittens running around, and the farmer, Larry, said, "Would you like one?" And I said, "Well, okay." Now he's getting a little squirmy, but I said, "Is it a girl or a boy?" "It's a female." So we picked her up and took her home and called her Kaida, after my daughter Sarah's orange cat named Kaida, who died a couple of years ago. So we called her Kaida until we had a chance to, I think you're gonna have to take him into the vet, and discovered he was a boy. Apparently, when kittens are born, not all of their parts come out. As the farmer lady said, "Oh, he must not have had all his parts yet." So our little Kaida turned into a Kaido. And my story about that was, well, my name is legally Cher. Now I know how Cher must have felt when her darling Chastity became a Chaz. I mean, we still call him a her after a month. It's really a he, named Kaido. We added the O onto his name, and he's just been the best cat. He's very loving, very affectionate, and I send pictures of him to the farm lady every day, because she loves her cats. And She wants to know how he's doing, and she can't believe her little Deer Park farm cat from Deer Park, Wisconsin, is all the way in Phoenix. And we even went as far as Yuma to see my new half brother the other day, who met us halfway. And so I'm taking pictures of him the whole time. See, I'm still doing this. So,
That's so, I
is
was
there
gonna
anything else you
say,
wanna- Yes.
yeah, I was gonna say, that is so much fun. I know that from being on a farm, that sexing kittens is hit or miss.
You know that then, okay. This is definitely a boy. So right there at the vet, we changed her name from Kaida to Kaido. And now we have a collar around him. It's a breakaway collar that has a name tag. It's engraved with our phone numbers, my boyfriend and I, in case he ever gets lost here, at least somebody can call us and find out where we are. So that's our identification. But he's
That's
been
fantastic. And with a minute left, why don't you tell us about a book you're working on?
Well, I'm working on my second book. It's again about sliding into a depression that was very paralyzing. My first book, which is published, is called Treasure Your Life. And Nadia, you were very instrumental in helping me stay focused on finishing this. It's about a depression that I bounced out of. Instead of ending my life, I decided to treasure my life and love it instead of hate it. So that's what that book is about. This one is about another time I slid into depression before I had to go to serve 45 days at the DuPage County Jail for a DUI that I'd gotten. So I was scared to death and I slid into another depression, but I bounced out of that one too. So my book is about how to really recognize depression and how to deal with it before it's too late. That's it.
Thanks for being on the show
And one more
today,
thing,
Sharon.
one more thing. I hope to release my book launch date on April 23rd, which, as you know, is your birthday.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't realize that your book was coming out this quickly. That's wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you, Nadia. Good to see you. It's always good.
Well, thank you, ladies, for being on the show today. And thank you to our extra special guests who appeared. And we'll see you all next time on It's a Woman's World. Thank you for watching today.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Great being here. Take care.
You too.
That's funny. What do you do with the leopard gecko?
Well, you do nothing. You just make sure he's fed and turn the light off at night.
Are they the
Yeah.
ones you can pinch on your ear and they'll hang there?
Here, Louis.
I don't touch him.
Okay.
He doesn't come out.
Okay.
Here's
But my other granddaughter wants a
here's Louis.
snake, but fortunately her mother won't let her have one because I will not babysit for a snake.
I don't mind
Ooh.
snakes
Oh,
as long as they're
that
not
is a snake.
poisonous.
Mrs. Louis.
I was about to ask what you were talking about because I'm not familiar with the term leper.
Leopard
Geico.
gecko. Okay.
It's like a lizard, a small lizard.
Oh,
Well, he's in a container, so
you know, back home, I was back home in Cameroon in Africa a couple of years ago, and those things get me running away from my room. Just anything crawling, lizard, gecko, whatever. I'm out of there and I'm screaming, and the kids are like, "They won't do anything." I'm like, "No." Then they won't start light against the light, against the lights up, and then you can see through them. I'm like, that is disgusting.
I must be a 12-year-old boy at heart because I like lizards and I don't mind
No,
snakes.
no,
you know, it's kind of funny because my daughter is deathly afraid of mice. I don't mind
Oh,
mice.
They're cute too.
I don't like snakes. She doesn't mind snakes. And my granddaughter who likes the snakes doesn't like spiders, and I could
Oh,
care
no.
less about spiders.
There's a lot going on.
We
No
all have our
spider.
thing, don't we?
Never have a
Yeah.
spider for a pet, that's for sure.
you.